Hey everyone, this is Nikki Rowland, and today I am making a layout for Hip Kit Club. So I have got the December kits already. So I have the December main kit, the Pocket Life kit, the embellishment kit, and the colour kit too. So I have all the kits to play with, as well as cardstock and extra papers, of course. I'm using this really super cute cut file today. I'm using just the presents, not the mouse. That is from the December downloads. So I have backed my presents. I've cut this cut file twice, and I flipped it as well the second time and made it smaller. So I have one cut normally, and then the other one cut slightly smaller than the first one, but flipped, so that I had two sets of presents, but the tall presents were both in the middle. So that's what I've done there. And then I have backfilled already all of those presents with different pattern papers from the December kits. So I've used some papers, but I've also used some of the Project Life cards too, to back my presents. The present on the far right, that is a Project Life card. The two small presents, they are also both Project Life cards, and the other presents are pattern paper. So I considered backfilling the ribbons as well, but actually I decided to add some sparkle, because this kit is just crying out for sparkle, because it's just those beautiful icy colours. So I decided to use the Nouveau paste that was in the December documented kit from November, and I'm just using it with a paintbrush, and I'm picking up the colour from the pot itself, and then I'm painting onto my ribbons. So these are the ribbons at the top of the presents, and at this point I realised that actually it probably would have been easier to use a palette knife. So I'd done all the first ones with a paintbrush, painstakingly with a paintbrush, and then the second one was way easier with a palette knife. So I would highly recommend that. All the excess glitter paste goes through the cut file anyway and directly onto my mat, so it was all fine. Definitely was the way forward to use the palette knife on those large areas at the top. That wouldn't obviously be possible if I was having to be very careful, but because those were open, that was fine. So now I'm using the Yana's Jade colour of Lindy's Magicals, and I've mixed it up with some water so that I have a paint, and I am just painting very, very carefully my ribbons on my presents there. So I'm just doing the present on the right of the right hand cluster, and I'm doing the bow and also the ribbons across and down the present too. And I wanted to do this because I felt that my ribbons either should have been backfilled in a different colour, or they should be a different colour. So I decided to do that on both of those two outside presents, to highlight that lovely bow, and also just to give it a bit more oomph, really, a bit more colour. So very, very carefully using a paintbrush and the Lindy's to paint those very, very carefully, because they're already stuck down onto my pattern paper. So just carrying on, being super careful, and just getting those painted. And they'll only take a few minutes to dry. They'll be very, very quick to dry, and you can really see all the lovely shimmer once the paint is dry. And as I say, it just made the ribbons stand out slightly more against the patterns. So just taking my time doing this. You can find this cut file in the December downloads. It's the one with the mouse in a sock, and it also says socks too. So this is a really good value cut file. I know they're free anyway, but it was a set of 3. Okay, so I'm just going to leave all those to dry for a little while, and get on with making my background. So I've picked out this crepe paper snowflake pattern paper. It's really, I love this background. It's a really lovely pattern. I always worry when I try to use pattern paper as my background that it looks too busy. I feel like I need to have some white there. So I have done the majority of the background in the pattern paper, but I have left a white border and then a large white border at the bottom. So I've also created a couple of little tears either side of the layout, just to add some extra interest to the background. And I'm just getting my cut files stuck in place now. They're pretty much almost dry already. That silver paste dried really quick, which was good. It was also a very thin layer, so that probably helped. Whereas if you use it for a stencil, of course you end up with a thicker amount normally, but on this occasion it was very, very thin. So it dried really nicely, and it just gave me that extra lovely piece of shimmer that I wanted. And I've mounted my photo onto a Project Life card, a pocket life card. It's the one with the pink and white stripes, and I've just dressed the edges as well. So I want to use that paper clip there from the Snowflake collection, but struggling to use it with the actual paper clip. So what I tend to do with paper clips is cut the paper clips off and just use the rubber charms. And that's what I do here. There we go, I'm just doing it now. I've just been through the Snowflake chipboard elements. They're very thick as crepe paper. Excuse me, sorry, I'm a bit poorly at the moment, so struggling to talk for a long time doing a voiceover. So going back to that, yeah, I'm using the crepe paper chipboard pieces, and I'm trying to layer them up, but of course because they're so thick it's hard to layer them on top of each other without creating too much dimension, and also creating different layers where the chipboards and pieces then kind of wobble. They need backing up with some foam pads or something. So I'm just trying to be careful about the way that I layer those pieces. I've picked out a big car with a tree on top to go at the bottom left. I've used a few trees in the middle, and I've got a big blue snowflake at the top there. And now I'm just going to extend those clusters that I've kind of started to create with some ephemera from this the December kits. So the December kits have a whole bunch of exclusive ephemera by Kim and Kimberly. It's called So Frosty, and it's really lovely, really pretty, icy, not Christmas related, just very wintry themed, and also lots that's not themed at all, so very generic stuff. So I've just been tucking those in, so I've created a nice floral cluster under the car. I've added a couple of floral clusters inside my little tears on each side of my layout, and I'm also going to add a bit more over to the right hand side as well. I've just added in my title that says waiting, and I've used the pink alphabet that came in the December kit, and I've just stuck my trees on with glossy accents to make sure that they stay in place. They're those chipboard ones that have a habit of falling off at a later date, I think because they're so heavy. And I added in the word together as well, and a flare badge too. That's also one of the exclusives. I've added in a couple of stars or snowflakes at the top. So one of them is from the vellum pack, and the other one is fussy cut from the snowflake speciality paper. Just adding in some foam dots under my floral clusters to give them a bit of extra dimension, and also just to make sure that they stay in place too. So I wanted to extend my cluster over on the right hand side where the flare badge is. It doesn't look, it's not got enough there. So I need to do something with that. Now I pulled out a couple of trees from the Snowflake phrase thickers. They're kind of a really pretty copper colour. They're not quite gold, they're not quite copper, they're something in between. Maybe we could call them a rose gold. But I pulled out a couple of trees, and I pulled out an open tree, and that totally didn't look right at all. So I put that back and I pulled out some solid ones. So I've just added those to the cluster with the trees, and I say I'm going to add a bit more over to the right hand side, but just making sure everything that I've got in place so far is stuck down. I do have a habit of getting to the end of my layout and finding out that half of my stuff isn't stuck, so I had to be careful. I'm trying to be more careful and more mindful and stick as I go at the moment. So adding in some gold twine. The gold goes really well with the kind of coppery colour of the thickers, so just wanted to add in a little bit more of that. I appreciate I've got silver paste on my bows on my cut file, but I decided to use the gold thread anyway. Okay, just coming in, adding a few more dots there. I've added 3 dots from the thickers, and I also added in the leaves from that little cluster with the 3 dots. So it was like a berries cluster into the little clusters within the tears on the background paper. So just brought that colour through the layout more. So brought it all together. So now I'm working on my cluster to the right of my title and my flare button. I've added a clock. We are waiting for Santa, so the clock worked really well. And I've pulled in some cozy socks. We've got stockings up, so that was good. And a little jar and some other things. So that worked really nicely. And I just kind of just felt that area there needed some more embellishment in that area. It was a little bit sparse with just a flare button on its own. It definitely needed some more stuff. I'm not in any way short of stuff from this kit. There is so much ephemera. I don't know what to do with it all, so I thought I'd better use it. Just fiddling around now, trying to work out if there's anything else I need to put in that cluster. I'm pretty happy with how it looks. So I am just packing everything, all my ephemera away, so I don't mix it up basically with the other set of ephemera. Okay, so coming in with these really gorgeous Prima crystals. They're kind of faceted crystals, and they're really, really pretty. Lovely alternative to enamel dots. And just adding, mixing up some of the pink Lindy's Magicals powder. Mix it in with some water, and I've just added some splatters at various points of the layout. So on the two big clusters on the right and the left, and around the two small tiny clusters in the pattern paper as well. And I'm just handwriting in my journaling. I ran out of room for the date, so I'm adding the date at the top there, even though it's obvious what the date is because it's Christmas Eve, waiting for Santa. But anyway, I thought I would write the date down anyway in case I forgot which year it was. So adding in a little bit more gold thread to the cluster on the right hand side now that I've got one. So I've got somewhere to put my gold thread now. And that's me pretty much done. I do actually off camera sew through my title as well with the gold thread. So that's me done. Thank you so much for joining me today. You can find the hip kits on the Hip Kit Club website, as well as the cut file that I used today on the December downloads. Thank you so much for watching. That was Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club.